Add points for Fieldwork Line Running. Hi, I'm Wim from Modelmaker Systems. The Fieldwork Line Running function will allow you to add new points with sequential names on your CAD layout, with various options to guide the process. The goal of the function is to greatly simplify setting out work in the field by creating the point names in a logical order. Select the function on the left points shortcut menu. The function mode has two options. Only add new points on block corners and add new points on the entire line path. The difference would be creating points only at corners where there is a bend on the line, otherwise at every connecting line on a straight segment. Line path mode. We have two ways to indicate the way we want to add the points: single line and polygon, with the option to restrict the search to the line pen and type. Single line will only run along the segment you indicate from the start to end, where polygon will trace the line until it reaches the start point to form a polygon. The restrict to line pen and type will take into account the line properties close to your start indication and use that as a guide to stop when the line properties change. New points field allows you to add your points description, code or tag, beacon code and cadastral code. The naming option allows you to set the naming sequence. Below you will see the next name according to your settings. Let me illustrate how to use the function practically. First I will add the main figure points, all around the edge starting on the most top from the first point. My settings will be only add new points on block corners and polygon. "20mm beacon code and M cadastral code. M1 with naming options to increment numerically. Now it's important where you click when selecting the line. The cursor position next to the line will guide the function to either trace the polygon outside or inside. Clicking inside will trace the inside polygon. When you click outside, it will trace the outside polygon. You also will need to click close to the line endpoint of the first main figure point, from which you want to start the naming sequence. After you clicked on the starting position, your trace line will give you a preview of the polygon it found. Confirm yes or no. In this case I will choose no and select again. That's better. Select yes. I can see the trace followed my main figure. You should see the points at all the main figure positions. Next I add the block corners, change my beacon code to 12mm and cadastral code to B and change the name to A1. Indicate close to the first point on the inside of the block and not of the earth. In this case the line traced past the main figure, which is wrong. It should have stopped when it got to the main figure line. I will say no to ignore this selection. Then on the restrict search to line pen and line type. The trace function will now only use the lines with a matching pen and line type of the starting line when trying to find a polygon. If your main figure line have a different pen and line type combination compared to the starting line, the trace will stop at the main figure line. Select yes. I do the next block, changing the name to B1. Select close to the first point on the outside of the block. That's it. The result looks correct. Select yes. Now the last block, change the name to C1 and select close to the first point. That's it. done with the block corner points. Next we add the normal points on the earth corners. I select Add New Points on the entire line path, unselect Restrict Search and keep it on Polygon. I change my cadastral code to P for placed and point name to start with 1. The program will not add points where there are already points, like at the main figure and block corner points. I indicate the same position as when I added the main figure points. My last point was point 24, so I continue with point 25. I will turn Restrict Search to line and pen type on. Select close to the point, and that's it. The numbering started at 25 and ended at 34. Next I do the middle block with the same settings. For the straight line I use the entire line option and single line and turn the Restrict Search off. My snap mode is DTM and the first segment works fine because there are DTM points. The second segment, because there is no DTM points on the second point, it does not add the points. If I select between DTM points, not on a straight line, it also does not add them because my mode is straight line. So I change my snap mode to line endpoint and that works. Complete the rest of the drawing. My sequence might not be the same as what you want, but you can see that you have full control of the numbering. When you are finished, you can export the points for setting out on your instrument. That's it for this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to hit the bell icon to get notified as soon as we upload new content.